All right, welcome back to Man Skills. We're still working on our shooting backdrop and hanging some steel as we talked about in the earlier video. And we're not trying so much to tell you, this is a perfect build or anything else, but might give you an idea if you've got a small space and need to cram several targets into it. We set these railroad cross ties in the ground and then started stacking them up the back for a backdrop, and you can see we're missing some all thread. We ran out, but we couldn't resist getting started on everything else, making a few shots, my son and I, with a 22. And rather than trying to support all the weight, because these things, at least when they're new, they're supposed to weigh around 200 to 250 pounds a piece, we've got the bottom cross tie sitting on the ground onto some compacted level ground to support the weight of them. So really that support vertical tie is really just to keep them from falling over. It's not to hold up the weight. I was afraid that we'd never hang that kind of weight and it not want to go over backwards. And we've got one horizontal here on the bottom. I kind of hoping maybe some of our splatter will go in there and contain that. And in the meantime, makes a good place to mount poppers and the dueling tree. I don't think you'd want to use those in conjunction with these other plates because of some potential ricochet or splatter hazard off of those, but they're just screwed on. It takes just a second to move them. So if you want to transition from a little practice to maybe some fun with a kid or something, you can just put them up with a couple of screws, and I don't think you'd have any issues. And just kind of wanted to represent some free space for maybe some paper targets or some future expansion or something. Really wanted to hang one of these round targets up above the torso for, I don't know, maybe a simulated hostage shot or something, but we were just afraid that there was just too much potential for a ricochet off of those different angles that would be directly below it. And while we're here, something else, we've got these things hung about 10 degrees each one of them, and it worked out fine. We didn't need all the bolts we thought we would need to accomplish that because the thing's so stinking heavy that it's just, with a couple of nuts, it was almost a perfect 10 degrees. And we'll try 10 degrees for a while, and if we need to adjust, that would be fine with us. It's just a little bit of an adjustment. So anyway, just for a good backyard backstop, and you wouldn't want to put this towards the neighbor's house because there's cracks between the ties, which we did our best to close up and flip them to where they mated each other as good as they can. But a place to mount targets and to slow bullet down. And man, if we wear this cross tie out shooting it, we'll be happy to replace it because we will have had a lot of fun at that point. And another thing, if you mounted these ties, occasionally you'll get one that's split on one end or something. It's really hard to sort through every one. They'll want you to take a couple that aren't great, and these upper two don't have a all thread through them yet, but we've kind of strategically drilled our holes through to pull those things together. And so you'll see they're not perfectly spaced on the front, and that was just to pull in a warp or a tie if we had to go up or down on them to get them to lay flat and mate to each other good. We didn't care for spacing of our nuts and washers were going to be the same on the front or not. So we left a little bit of space below this horizontal tie for drainage. I don't think that's going to be a big issue, but like I said, for maybe kind of like a well for some of our splatter to go in, and any larger fragment might go in there and stop. We're not going to be shooting it real close right now that my son and I couldn't resist a little 22 action on these targets. So we'll get everything mounted up a little bit better and a few more holes drilled, and I think we'll probably go ahead and cut the top of those two off. I don't think we need another tie up there. And like I said, at 200 something pounds, that's getting pretty high for one guy to try to wrestle those things up there one at a time. So, but anyway, I think there's some flexibility here for a person that wanted to have a little something in his backyard to practice on. You can space these out, change them up, do whatever. And I don't know, we always like to shoot at some kind of paper occasionally, so we've got a place to tack that up. You might even move the poppers over there directly underneath that and not have to worry about ever having to move those. I don't know. But anyway, thanks for watching. Just wanted to show you where we were headed with that. And our first video was kind of short and didn't really show much about hanging steel. And I think the rest of it's pretty self-explanatory. Nobody's going to need to tell you how to bolt something up, but just be careful to get that angle at the end. And as you can see, you don't need a 6-inch bolt to get a 10-degree angle on something this heavy. So we're going to shoot this a little while, give you some updates, maybe add some targets to it, and then hopefully we'll be off to some other kind of project, because like I say, this one is nearing completion for what we'll want to do with it. We're just going to want to shoot it from here on out. But anyway, thanks for watching.